in the earth. So this is at-ta'alluh. It just means generally devotion, worshipping that whom we love. Then we have ar-ruku' was-sujud. So these are now outward types of worship, outward manifestations of worship. All the previous ones, many of them were actually the actions of the heart. Now ar-ruku' was-sujud. Ar-ruku', bowing, is an act of worship. It is not for other than Allah. A person should not bow or lower himself to anyone out of veneration of them. This is only for Allah Azza wa Jal. When you do this out of humility and venerating someone, then this is only for Allah Azza wa Jal. And likewise, even more so, prostration is only for Allah Azza wa Jal. A person does not prostrate to an idol, nor to a grave, nor to a tomb, nor to any, highly respectable person of having status. Rather, it is only for Allah Azza wa Jal. And we see that some of the previous nations, like the Persians and the Romans, they used to actually bow and prostrate to their leaders. On one occasion, Mu'adh bin Jabal, he actually saw the Persians and the Romans, he saw them doing this. So when he came to the Prophet ﷺ, he wanted to prostrate to the Prophet ﷺ because he saw those people doing it out of respect for their leaders. So he wanted to show the same respect. And we see that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, he prohibited him from that, prevented him from that. And he said, if I was to command anyone to prostrate to anyone else, then I would have commanded the woman to prostrate to her husband, due to the great right that he has upon her. So this sujood is not for anyone besides Allah Azza wa Jal. And we can conclude, and we'll continue inshallah with one or two more. Yeah, we'll finish in fact. But since we're on this point, we see that in this hadith, if I was to command anyone to prostrate to a woman, then I would command her to prostrate to her husband, due to the great right that he has upon her. So, since we mentioned this hadith, we see that Allah Azza wa Jal, He has established a certain type of relationship between various people in the society, between a husband and wife, between parents and children, and the other way around as well, children and parents, between the subjects and the ruler, between the subjects and the scholars, the ulama. We see that all of these types of relationships have been clearly defined and guidance has been given to us. And as a consequence of all of this, we see that there is cohesion and there is coherence and there is stability in a Muslim society that adheres to these things. For example, when a child respects his parents, when the parents respect the children and fulfill their duties, when a husband respects the rights of the wife, when the wife respects the rights of the husband, when the subjects respect the rights of the rulers, when they likewise respect the rights of the scholars. Right? In all of this we see that there is a cohesion. And likewise, there are certain things which are the right of certain people to engage in. So the scholars are the ones who give fatwa and teach knowledge. The rulers are the ones who look after, who maintain order and provide security. Right? The husband, the men are the ones who have been given certain tasks. And likewise women have been given certain tasks. And some of those rights are so great and so highly emphasized. Like for example, look at the right of the ruler. The ruler has such a right upon his subjects that even if the ruler was to be tyrannical and oppressive and unjust, and if he was to take your wealth, beat your back, we have still been commanded in the Sharia to still obey him. As we see in the hadith of Hudhayfa, وَإِن ضَرَبَ ظَهْرَكَ وَأَخَذَ مَالَكَ أَوْ ضُرِبَ ظَهْرُكَ أَوْ أُخِذَ مَالُكَ, according to the way it's read. Even if your back is beaten and your wealth is taken, still, this is a great and mighty right that belongs to the ruler. Why? Because there are far-reaching wisdoms behind this command, right? Because it's to maintain stability in the land and to maintain the affairs to run their course, and people, to avoid a greater wide-scale fitna. In a similar manner, we see that a woman, that the man has a tremendous right upon the female to obey him and to honor him and to respect him. And this is the way that society remains cohesive. And you will see in these nations that we live, all of which run upon socialism, and socialism is really something, the underlying premise of which is to break down all of these relationships. To break down all of these relationships between the husband and wife, between the parents and children, between the children and parents, between the ruler and the ruled, and to isolate every single individual so that he's just one individual. And then it leads to other things like confiscation of private property and whatever else. So the point being here is that when you look at these societies, you see them arguing about, you see them nowadays, women hating men and men hating women, and who should be paying the divorce? Is it the woman who should be paying because they demand equal rights and they are equal, or is it the man that should pay the divorce settlement? And all these things you see in the society. When you look at the social ills and the problems that they are having in their societies, you see all of this is because they do not recognize the realities that we see mentioned in the guidance that Allah Azza wa Jal has given to us. And so therefore they will be in a downward spiral. And because of these problems you see in their societies, the population rate is plummeting. They're not having children, right? Their populations will die out within how many generations. This is what they're very scared of, right? Because all these individual relationships, men and women, and the bond that should be between them, and all these other social ills and plagues that they have in their societies, like homosexuality and lesbianism, whatever else, all of that is bringing so many problems and causing their societies to spiral downwards into destruction, right? So my point in saying all of this is we are not shy from mentioning this. We are proud of this guidance from Allah Azza wa Jal. We're not shy. We do not apologize. We are not sorry. We find that this is guidance from Allah Azza wa Jal, and we are proud of this guidance. Take it or leave it. This is how we should respond to these people, and not cower and take the back foot and be deceived by these slogans that they come out with, freedom, equal rights. All this is just nonsense. It's just nonsense. It's meaningless nonsense. Just look at the state of these societies before you start believing in these slogans. So to continue, we just have a short bit left. Inshallah, we'll conclude.